good question that came up today. Is droplet transmission technically vehicle airborne transmission? No, it's not. You will notice in your book on page page 411 of the yellow edition of the book, they break down transmission into contact transmission, which is basically broken down into direct, indirect, droplet. Okay, then you have vehicle transmission, and then you have vector transmission. Okay, so droplet transmission is a form of indirect contact. Right? Notice if you read that airborne transmission is a form of vehicle transmission. Now we got to talk a little bit about why that is, because you would think, well, droplets airborne. What's the deal? No, it's actually not. What we're talking about, we talk droplets are basically droplets of mucus that do not hang in the air. Right? So droplet transmission is actually there's sort of a cutoff of how far drops can go. When you sneeze, if you don't cover your sneeze and it's a big juicy one, right, it'll go pretty far, but it's not going to go. For instance, let's say I had a big juicy sneeze in the classroom and I was by the board. Okay, if you were all the way at the end, at the other side of the room, at the back, those droplets aren't going to hit you back there. Right? You wouldn't want to be in the front row, but in the back, it's not going to hit you. Those are particles that will come and they will head out of my nose and mouth, and they will obey gravity and will basically have a trajectory like a cannonball, and they will eventually hit the floor or a desk or whoever's standing there. It's disgusting, sitting there, whatever. Airborne is different. Airborne is literally I sneeze or I breathe or I cough, and the bacteria or virus is able to stay in the air and diffuse throughout the room. It's a little scarier to me. And so your book gives a great example. Or sort of so under airborne transmission, note it says staphylococci and streptococci can survive on dust and be transmitted by the airborne route. Right, that's in your book on page 413 there. So staphylococci and streptococci can survive on dust. Well, dust stays airborne for, actually I don't know how long dust stays airborne for, a longer time than do my droplets when I sneeze if I don't cover my mouth. Okay? So droplet is seen as it's indirect contact. Some part of a person's body, their spit, is contacting you. So it's actually, so droplet transmission is not vehicle airborne transmission. Vehicle refers to a gas or like the air or a liquid typically. That is the vehicle. So I want to end this real quickly. Well, maybe not real quickly, but I want to show you something here come out. I want to show you a paper. So this is a site called PubMed, run by the National Library of U.S. National Library of Medicine. This is where you get real good peer-reviewed research if you needed it. I don't think you'll need to do it for this class. And I found a paper through this called Dynamics. Oops, not this one though. Here we go. It's aerobiology and its role in the transmission of infectious disease. So here's this here. It comes from the Journal of Pathogens. Not actually a journal I'm really very familiar with, but looks pretty important or pretty. Let's see where they come from. Mid-Atlantic Venture Investment Group, and a group, this other person comes from Functional Genomics Incorporated. So that's kind of interesting. I'm sure they know what they're talking about, but let's keep in mind that, are these guys experts? Are these people experts? Aaron Fernstorm and Michael Goldblatt? Not sure. But I did find interesting in here a paper or a table. Right here, table 1, droplet or airborne microorganisms released from various activities. Click on that. This is different activities. These numbers indicate the references. So sneezing releases approximate particle count. So particles, I take this to mean particle being a cell or a virus. Right, 40,000 per sneeze. And if we wanted to read up on that, we'd have to go to this number, reference 36. But notice bowel evacuation, 20,000 per event. That is droplet or airborne, right? So what this is saying is sneezing, bowel evacuation, vomiting, coughing, talking, all of these release droplets and aerosols, right? Luckily talking is very low, but it still does. Right, so a lot of things we do in life generate aerosols, generate droplets, even in lab. That's why I'm very careful when you're in lab to wash hands and cover yourself up, because we are generating some aerosols in there. Now, if these particles are, dangerous cells or viruses, well, then that's really bad. But these are actually particle counts of probably normal flora or normal microbiota. I would need to look. So let's go to coughing. It's a little less discussing. 36. Designing HVAC systems for hospital isolation rooms. I need to look through that to see what this is. Let's see here. This looks like I would need to look through this. Interesting. Well, there you go. Let's get back to so yes, we generate aerosols and droplets all the time, and sometimes that can transmit disease. And is droplet transmission technically vehicle airborne? No, it is not. And it has to do with how big the particles are and how far they go. True airborne transmission is vehicle, and it goes very far. Droplet transmission does not go very far, and I think the book says that it's 2 meters, I think is the furthest, or 1 meter. So they don't go very far. Droplet transmission does not go very far, and there's some organisms that cannot survive unless they're in a big juicy droplet. The type of organisms that can survive vehicle airborne transmission, true airborne transmission, are going to be different from those that can survive that need droplet transmission. So that is a really long way of saying no.